Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Nintendo Pipeline Podcast. I'm Nes underscore friend of the podcast, or in the Discord, I am known as Nes underscore friend of the podcast. And with me, I have.
I'm Jared, also known as One Up Muffin on Discord.
Hi, I'm Clay. I'm also CMM.
Hi, I'm pokeDrago.
And then we also have a guest with us.
God.
It's me.
Do it again, Drago.
Do it again. It's me. It's pokeDrago. Jonathan,
There you go.
I think is my name,
yeah.
I guess.
I think.
Yeah.
You think.
It's probable.
He's
Well,
so
I gathered
terminally
everyone here
online that he
today.
just forgot his name.
Yep. Can't remember.
I feel that, unfortunately.
God.
I gathered
Terminally
everyone here
online is
today.
like one of my favorite phrases.
Yeah, it's one of
I
mine.
actually
too.
didn't gather everyone here today, but Clay did. But I'm piggybacking off of all his work because nothing that he does matters here. Because I'm the host.
Chaos.
Today we're gonna be talking about. The eShop unfortunately closing. It's very sad, but I am like this generation. I love this generation.
To be
and I know
specific, it's
more
not
than
just like
everyone
the
else.
entire eShop closing.
Oh yeah, no, I just mean like the Wii U and also the 3DS. But like, what if the Switch eShop closed? That'd be kind of funny. Anyways, we're gonna be going on like a tour of just like the fun stuff that you won't be able to get anymore because Nintendo hates all of us.
Yeah.
And also, before we start, I do want to I want to give a moment of remembrance to Miiverse because that closed down and like no one talks about it anymore. And I think it's important to all of us. I think
we should
A
do
lot
like
of us-
5 seconds of silence for the Miiverse in respect.
Yeah, I think a lot of us just like didn't understand how good of a social media it was.
Yeah, you know it's funny.
That's enough silence. It wasn't that good.
I was reminiscing on Miiverse like a couple days before the eShop closed, so I've never forgotten, and I never will.
No.
Did you
Never forgive, never forget.
Did you all save your Miiverse memories when they put that out?
I don't.
That's a thing?
It was a
maybe,
thing.
I don't think so.
I did.
I don't think I did that.
Wow, you
I think-
suck.
I
So
think
much
there-
for your love.
There were some people that just saved every single Miiverse post ever made.
Yeah,
though,
that
right?
the whole thing is archived. Yeah,
Yeah, it's awesome. Like
Miiverse is so funny.
it is very funny.
it really is.
Okay, I know this is an eShop episode, but like having
No,
a
let's just
Miiverse
do a
bit
Miiverse
is like
episode,
honestly
it's
very
fine.
important.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the Miiverse episode now.
Yeah,
Remember the
people
Miiverse
finding out.
stage in Smash Brothers?
Remember?
It was so cool.
Yeah.
Remember that one kid who found out he was gay because he likes Luigi?
Did you guys ever see like naughty things on like the Miiverse stage in Smash? Like, wouldn't that be so funny if you like saw like something really gross and naughty?
Yeah, maybe if I'm like 10.
I think it's really funny how you can draw things. Wait, do you guys remember that bug that happened in the Superstar Saga like subreddit Miiverse? I don't remember what it's called.
No.
No, what happened?
But like there's a bug I think goes with that where you can like literally copy paste images in. And people were
Oh.
just posting like screenshots of Pornhub for like 3 days and then they purged the entire thing. But they didn't fix the bug yet, and then they fixed the bug.
That's amazing.
It's really funny.
That is.
Thank you, Nintendo.
Thank
for that.
you. Yeah. But I think more importantly than Miiverse, there's a lot of really cool content on the Wii U and
Oh, wait.
3DS eShops.
Before that, can we just talk about the store closures for a little bit?
Well, yeah, that's what I was getting to. Is
Oh,
yeah.
Mr. Fancy
Oh,
Pants.
yeah.
We're doing a little workaround segue that I messed
Yeah,
up.
We're doing a segue
segue? I
because
wish I,
because I accidentally
I'm-
started hosting this episode.
I have a segue because I don't like walking.
Wait, before we continue, what the hell is a Segway?
Oh my-
Not like the word thing,
Oh
but
my
like,
god.
is that like a little scooter?
It's like one of those yeah, you stand on it and you like.
Have you ever
tilt
seen
in a
Paul Blart
direction.
Mall Cop 2?
Oh, it's like the hoverboards.
Yeah.
It's like that,
Okay,
but like
yeah.
even less cool.
Yeah. Okay, I know exactly what you're talking about. I could not remember.
But yeah, I mean, anytime a digital storefront closes, it very much sucks. We already went through this with the Wii shop channel and all of those games that are kind of just, lost to the average person. Everything from like hundreds of virtual console games to like exclusive stuff like Bonsai Barber and all that fun stuff back then. And then we kind of went through it a little bit with the DSi, but we at least had DSi were in the 3DS eShop. So although you could at least transfer that stuff forward and keep getting that content. But now, with the 3DS eShop finally sunsetting, that means, DSiWare dies for good, Virtual Console dies for good. Even basic stuff like demos or like updates for games, like if you didn't download like the Mario and Luigi Dream Team update or whatever, that stuff is gone forever. It's sad. There's a lot of content and history lost.
It makes
there.
no sense either. Like, I'm not a programmer. I don't know how this shit works, but if in my mind it costs like $5 a year to run like the 3DS like servers, like surely they make up like whatever money it costs to run these things.
I would imagine that they probably see stuff dipping at some point and then decide it's no longer worth it. I still think it sucks. I also think
it sucks.
Really
I don't know
early.
how they run. I don't know how they run the servers, but I know with like a lot of like bigger like people that have like a lot of like data that they need to like keep up, they have like the main stuff that people are downloading from, and then they have like it duplicated, and then they have it like it offsite duplicated. That's kind of a lot of like space to just like have a bunch of like games and stuff that like no one's downloading.
Yeah.
So like I kind of get it, but at the same time, it's not that much. Like you're a $1 kajillion company.
The Switch is doing so well. It's not like they need to like cut costs. Like they sold 1 billion copies of Big Brain Academy.
Yeah. It's Wii U is one thing, but I think in particular the 3DS eShop closure is a bit premature.
Yeah, I mean that's the
early.
one that really shocked me, because like it wasn't even 3 years ago that there were still like, not, I won't say major, right, but like there were still like, notable 3DS games coming out on retail, and like less than 3 years later the entire thing is just going completely kaput. And I don't know, it's like that feels like so soon. It's like, imagine if the PS3 shop went down in like 2016. Is like how that, like, to I guess compare it to something.
And that was a near miss too recently.
Yeah, it was. I mean, that's another. I mean, I don't know if now's the time to compare and contrast.
No, now's the time.
Yeah, but it's. I think one of the craziest things to me about this whole situation is like literally like earlier this year. Like it wasn't even that long ago. Sony was like, "Hey, surprise! We're gonna shut down everything that isn't a PS4 or a PS5, and you got a couple months. Make it happen." And then everyone lost their mind, and they actually changed their position. They actually like backed off and said, "Hey, you know what? We screwed up. We're going to keep these stores open for a while longer. Who knows when? They're still going to go down eventually, but they're back."
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Nintendo announces that they're getting rid of the Wii U and the 3DS eShop, and they make like a big celebration out of it. Like, you can go on a website and see, like, what you spent your time on, what your favorite games were, your memories. Remember the Wii U and the 3DS? Weren't those great? Sure is sad that those are leaving us. It's like making a marketing campaign out of the fact that they're closing these shops.
Yeah,
and
it's kind of like the 1-2 punch of, like, bad news, but here's a cute thing.
Yeah, and it's like, God, and then in that original FAQ they posted when they talked about the Virtual Console, I legitimately, like, I saw someone posted that out of context, like, outside of that page. I thought it was a joke. I legitimately thought someone...
What was it?
Go ahead.
I'd have to find, like, the original wording, but basically, it was like, the question was like, hey, with these shops closed, there's no more Virtual Console. All of these old games are going away. What are you going to do? And they were basically like, well, on the Switch, you can subscribe to Nintendo Switch Online. And that's it. We have no other plans. Goodbye.
Yeah. It was not only that. It was not only that. It was like, part of the question was like, don't you have an obligation to keep your titles up for purchase for current systems? And it was basically like, well, we got NSO and... not everything's on NSO, but we've got like X games. All right, bye.
Yeah, it was kind of this like feeling of like, yeah, this is we know what we're doing. We know what's best. You don't. Like, it was not great. They took it down like I think a half hour after they posted it. I'm surprised it got up at all.
Yeah, I'm
I
genuinely
would have
surprised.
thought people would have been more upset of these things closing down, like causing like more of a stink.
Well, don't forget they did they very intentionally did the 1-2 punch of like, well, we just had a direct. Well, now we're closing these services, Well, now, there's some patches releasing on the same day. Also, Wii U and 3DS memories and like other stuff that's, it's done in a way to sort of try and minimize the impact, because I'm sure they're
Try to
perfectly
placate
aware.
us sheeple.
I'm sure that they're perfectly aware that people are not going to be happy
Yeah, and
about
I mean,
that.
I think you could say too that Nintendo's kind of trained people to expect bad news like this and know that it's not really gonna do anything. Like if you complain and whine, like
Yeah.
I can't really think of many, if any, like moments where Nintendo was trying to do something and they stepped back. The first one that came to mind was like when they were gonna block Melee from being at Evo, like probably
Yeah.
10 years ago. At this point,
That was 10 years
Um,
ago.
almost.
the one
I
I
think
can
that was like
think of
2013.
Is when they initially said NSO was going to be like 2 games at a time,
Oh yeah, that was another.
and people were like, "This is the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life, Nintendo."
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll get to play literally one NES game a month, and you can play online though, and like, oh, that's a great deal. Damn.
Yeah, there's been a very small handful of times where they've kind of like changed course or done something drastic in order to like, carry on. Like a different type of example would be like the giant 3DS price cut at the beginning of its life when it,
When it
things
just
weren't going
flopped.
good. Yeah, when things were not going well, and they were like, well, all right, here we go. And I think people don't really talk about it, but the same thing happened with GameCube as well, where like things were not going well, and they chopped that motherfucker to like 100, and bundled like 2 of their most important games with it. So they occasionally will do stuff, but usually it's motivated by something is doing really, really, really poorly.
Right.
Not so much people are mad about something.
Yeah, and I mean, I think you can make a case too where it's like if you do keep it up, it's like I don't know how many people are still buying it. Not that it makes it okay, but I think to
Yeah.
them, I don't think they see it affecting their bottom line at all.
Yeah. Well, I think
So-
too, there is one thing to remember here, and again, I'm not a fan of storefront closures and all of that, but just to be very specific and very clear, for the Wii U and 3DS eShops, the ability to buy new things and download new things is going away. You are still able to download your previously owned titles, and the same thing is even true with Wii right now and the DSi shop. You can still re-download titles, so it's not that
Yeah.
point where it's super dire. But
As of now, the online is going to stay up for a while, but I imagine they'll just shut it off at some point.
yeah, they haven't announced anything in terms of shutting down online services.
I
for
got to play
games.
Steel Diver Sub Wars again before it
I
goes
like
away.
that game. I don't give a
I
shit
I
what
like that
anyone
game
says.
too. We'll
Yeah.
get,
We'll
different
get to that
episode,
at
but-
another point. Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta play Rusty's before that whole gimmick goes away.
Oh god.
I don't like that game at all.
I don't either. I can't even talk about that.
I think Rusty's a piece
Just
of
like
shit.
how you don't like Sonic Boom.
Yeah. Yeah, we have Sonic Boom to talk about, guys.
Let's get into it. No, Sonic
Yeah.
Boom. I've never played that
Sonic
game, but
Boom.
I hate it.
Oh my god, I can't believe this.
It's based on
You've
a
never
children's
even played
cartoon. No, why would I have played that game?
It's
It's
iconic.
based on a children's
even that
cartoon
bad.
nobody watched.
Sonic Boom is an iconic Wii U
wa-
game, for better or for worse.
Yeah.
Wait, okay. So the show is actually like pretty good. I'm not even gonna lie. The show's pretty good.
Yeah, as far as I can tell, the show is by far
but-
the best part of that whole experiment.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But the Wii U game, it's fine. It's like really repetitive, but other than that, it's like a fun experience to turn your brain off to.
I feel like the word
But
I
the
would
game itself takes like so long to like beat.
I feel like the word I
You're
would
really
use
selling me on it.
is crusty. It's very crusty. Like there's something
I
in
wouldn't
there.
say crusty.
It's something. There's something
Krusty's
in
Real
there.
Deal Baseball.
Oh, yeah, that is pretty crusty.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, talking in terms of eShop, I guess if you'd want to talk about like physical games that are expensive physically,
Yeah.
but they're cheap on the eShop, I don't think Sonic Boom is one of those games. I was kind of curious to
Yeah.
see if maybe it was like as like a joke, like a Devil's Third it, but no.
Yeah.
I mean, you can get this game for like $30, like physically.
Yeah.
So
That's $30 still feels like a lot for like.
Yeah.
it's
that.
it's certainly
the-
not dirt cheap, but it's
Yeah.
probably cheaper. I don't know if they ever dropped the price on the eShop. Like you might be looking
I
at
doubt it.
$60 if you bought it digitally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but for something like
100% of the game takes like 20 hours though.
Oh, it's worth
so
it.
I think that $30 for 20 hours is pretty good.
Yeah. You know what else is 20 hours? I don't know, a lot of other games. You play a lot of other games that are probably
I
cheaper.
mean, there's, it's certainly not a devil's third situation where like digital is like half the price of what physical copies.
Not
of that
even
game
half.
are now.
You're probably thinking like
Yeah.
a third.
Yeah, or like
A devil's third.
or something like
Oh.
something like Metroid Prime Trilogy, which obviously physical copies on Wii are annoying.
Yeah.
Have those
And-
spiked up? Because I remember for a while those are like back to like reasonable prices.
I'm
Are they?
honestly not sure. I wouldn't be surprised if they went back up.
Well, let's see. I've got my
I mean,
eBay up.
at least like compared to the I believe the digital Metroid Prime Trilogy is $20.
Yeah.
I think all of the Wii games on Wii U are $20.
Yeah, no, this definitely went back up in price. It definitely for a time was like I think 50 or less even, but now I'm looking
Yeah.
it's like 150. So Wii U is
So
definitely
yeah, you can get it for $20 in the Wii U. So
yeah, that's the
same.
way.
The same for stuff like Kirby, Return to Dreamland, which is pricey. Rhythm
it?
Heaven Fever, which is pricey now.
I know, I know. Rhythm Heaven Fever is kind of fluctuated. I always check the price of
Yeah.
that game in particular because I think it's the most
Yeah.
shocking to me.
Yeah.
But that one, I think right now you're looking at 100.
really, oh my! I got that on clearance
Really?
at Best Buy for $20.
Yeah, I got
I-
mine on Amazon for like $10, and it's the best $10 I've ever spent in my life.
I bought it.
I got it from GameStop, and it was like $15.
I bought it day one for $50, and I do not regret it. And then
No.
I ended up getting another copy later from Walmart for literally $2.
The DS game I
$2.
also got on clearance. It was like clearance of $10 at Best Buy.
Yeah.
So I spent like a total of like $30 for both those games. But bought them new though. They weren't new.
Yeah,
If you haven't bought Rhythm
Wait,
Heaven
actually-
Fever, then you should.
Yes.
Yeah.
Rhythm Heaven
Yeah.
Fever is my
I-
favorite game of all time. Like
I actually got DS Rhythm Heaven for like 99 cents.
that's a great game too. I think
That's
that
also
one.
a great game.
That's also. I don't think it's
I
as
don't know.
expensive as Fever, but that one's crept up too.
I want to hear about Rhythm Heaven Fever by Drago.
Yeah.
Rhythm Heaven Fever.
Please.
I mean, I don't know what. I feel like I've talked about this game so much at this point that I don't know what's left to say. But I just think it's a perfect video game.
Yeah.
I can play that game over and over, and I have, and I will continue to until probably when I'm dead.
grave.
In the
Plucking
grave.
the Wii remote.
You put me in the grave with the Wii remote and a disc, my disc of
Monkey
Rhythm Heaven
clock.
Fever. Monkey Watch.
Monkey clock will still be ticking. Yeah.
Yeah, I need to get a Monkey Watch.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just every mini game is like super fun. The music's super catchy. The remixes are like just perfection. Like I don't know, like it's one of those weird games where it's like it's so dead simple that I feel like I can't really talk about it for a long time without just repeating myself.
Yeah.
But it makes me happy and it satisfies me. Like I for a while I've always liked the game, but I feel like as time goes on, I just appreciate it more and more and more. Like, and I just love rhythm games to begin with. Like, rhythm
Yeah.
might be my favorite genre as a whole, just because they're extremely fun to play. And Rhythm Heaven just takes rhythm games to like almost this next level, not in terms of like complexity or these like super crazy maps, but just translating like rhythm gameplay into something just visually engaging and fun and funny and just it's satisfying. I don't know. I'm like struggling to find the words.
You get into this different kind of flow with Rhythm Heaven than you do with like say like DDR or like traditional line based chart based rhythm games where it's like like each song is more than just a song. It's kind of like it's a little vignette. It's a little like experience, and you're kind of controlling a character or doing something, and it's kind of impacting how the song is going as well. And then it has that that extra content, like going for a perfect, in Rhythm Heaven is like an event. It's not, you can't just go for a perfect anytime you want.
Right.
It has like the side mini games and content and weird like lore and weird world that kind of like builds on top of itself as you go through each different song.
Yeah.
It's very special.
Yeah, it's one of those games where it's like I genuinely cannot think of like any way to improve it.
Yeah.
It
has multiplayer too.
and it has
Limited.
multiplayer. The
It is
multi,
limited.
but the multiplayer is ridiculously fun. Like
Yeah, it's
what is there, like like when you get someone who's like not awful at rhythm games to play with you, it's really satisfying to kind of like bounce off of each other. I think one of my favorite games is the Bossa Nova one, and for multiplayer they turn it into an endless game where it's just like this like gauntlet of like playing this game and switching sides and like staying in rhythm with each other, and it works really well.
One of the
I played it with my friend once, and he was like a musician, and he was so much better in the game than me. And like I'd played it for hours, and he had never touched it before in his life.
Mm-hmm.
I had a friend who had absolutely negative 20,000 sense of rhythm, who I let try the game, and he was so amazingly awful. It was really funny.
Mm-hmm.
But like the game I always think of when I think of Fever is actually the game where you flick the peas and stab them with the fork.
Oh, I love
It's a
that
great one, yeah.
Oh, I love that
And
one.
that one's in multiplayer as well, which is why I bring it up now. And it's just like one of those things. Like, what do you? If you haven't played the game, you're probably like, "What are you on about?" But
Mine is
like, it makes
Flipper.
sense.
Flipper
What's the
Flop.
Flipper one?
Flipper
Yeah,
rolls.
Flipper Flop
2,
is
3.
like amazing.
Yeah.
A plus.
I think my favorite one is Packing Pests because it just has like
Oh yeah.
like I guess it's like kind of like one of the more basic ones, but it just has this like really extremely satisfying like beat to it where it's like every
Yeah.
like action has so much punch, and the song that goes with that game too is one of my favorites. Like
What did that
Yeah.
one look like? I'm just trying.
it's the two hands coming out of the cubicle, and it's like you're grabbing the money or the presents or whatever, and you're slapping away the
the
bugs.
candy.
Yeah, the candy.
Oh,
the candy.
okay, yeah,
And
I
you're
remember
slapping
that
the
one.
little
Yeah.
spider things. Yeah.
Mhm.
The one of the ones. I mean, it's the very first game in Fever, but again, a very
Hole-in-one?
iconic game is the hole-in-one. That one
Mhm.
just
Great
feels
one.
so satisfying.
Yes,
for
it
you.
does.
Just-
It gets you started right away because it's a pretty easy game, so you can like perfect it, and you're like, oh my god, like this, like I can do this.
and not
one of those.
and not for nothing too. Something I think that is kind of special about this game compared to others in the series even is that the Wii remote has a speaker in it, and it uses it in this game in a way that makes sense and complements the different rhythm games very well.
Mm-hmm.
So
Gotta love the Wii
yeah,
remote speaker.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
favorite
it's great.
controller gimmick ever.
I literally could talk about Fever for hours.
Yeah, this has become
because like the game design is so cool in the way that they just use audio and like the Wiimotes and like it's literally a masterpiece. It's such a good
It's
game.
it's a straight
Yeah.
up masterpiece. If you have a Wii U and you don't have this game, and you don't want to pay $100. That's one of the
Yeah.
easiest purchases you could ever make.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it'll last you hours. It's so fun.
Yeah,
And I mean, I think too, even beyond. I know we briefly mentioned it, but like, everybody's gonna put this on their list, but I think it's still worth mentioning, and that's fucking Metroid Prime Trilogy because
yeah.
I mean
Yeah.
that is the most convenient and best way to play those
Yeah.
games if you're not speedrunning.
Yeah.
I'll
Putting
be
the
honest,
asterisk.
I've only played like part of the first game, but I'd still like recommend this because it's 3 big games for $20.
Yeah.
Like,
And yeah,
where you're not going wrong.
yeah, we talked about Return to Dreamland earlier too. That's
Yeah.
one of my favorite Kirby games.
I really want to try
same.
that one. I've never played that.
Yeah,
It's
that
extremely good.
So I might grab that on my Nintendo Wii U.
that one
it-
shocked me in how much I liked it, honestly, because I thought
Yeah.
it was. I mean, it is a pretty standard Kirby game, but it's a really, really solid one. Like,
Well, I think too, if you've played any of the 3DS Kirby's or if you played Star Allies, Return is the one that kind of ushered in that style of Kirby,
Okay.
and I think it does a lot of things special itself. It has its own new powers that it added that not all of them came back in subsequent games. It is the first to do the 4-player multiplayer. If you are into your games running at 60 FPS, this game will run at 60 FPS with 4 people. I mean,
I am.
the world and the game and the lore and just all the different cool stuff that happens in that game is just so much fun.
great killer music too.
I think especially like for a Wii game, it looked really good
Oh, yeah.
for the time.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
And like, I mean that with like the utmost respect. Where like Donkey Kong Country Returns was like a really like gorgeous game. This game was incredible. It looked so nice.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite Kirby games.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's true of several of the Wii games that were added to the Wii U eShop.
Yeah, one other one I can think of off the top of my head, if we're still talking Wii games, is Trauma Team.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 Now I actually I have not gotten to Trauma Team yet, but
Same.
I've played the other Trauma games, which aren't on the Wii U eShop for some reason. But Trauma Team is a game I will get to eventually. I've only ever heard like really good things. Those other Trauma Center games on the Wii are extremely good.
Yeah.
And looking at eBay, I think this one has also started to climb the price ladder a little bit too. Not crazy, but if you'd rather pay $20 instead of 50, there's another. You know what was you know what was really weird? Like in like July, I think of July 2017, like months after the Switch had already come out, Ubisoft decided to drop Rayman Raving Rabbids the original on the Wii U eShop as well.
Did they?
Yeah, there were a couple just like extremely late like Wii U eShop releases that made
Like,
no sense. And
Konami was releasing games into like 2019 or some weird shit.
like I think the TurboGrafx 16 Virtual Console didn't even come out on Wii U until like either late 2016 or 2017.
Wow,
Like,
It was a while.
Super late.
Even what do you call it? One I completely forgot about that is definitely worth mentioning because of recent events is Mario Galaxy 2 is on Wii U digitally,
That's right.
and that is not
I totally
included.
forgot about that.
Yeah, it was not included in the 3D All Stars collection, so that is the most
Tragically.
current
Yeah.
place to buy that. You know, Punch Out and all those too. Like,
Yeah. I mean,
I didn't
honestly,
even know some of these. Like Zack and Wiki, I didn't even know was on.
yeah, like I don't know how these games are priced nowadays, so it's hard for me to be like, oh, this
Like-
one's expensive, that it's cheap on the Wii U.
Right.
I mean, I feel like most of the Wii games they put up on the Wii U eShop are, worth playing, or they're good games.
Yeah.
It was a pretty small and mostly first-party heavy selection of stuff. Like, the
Yeah.
third-party stuff was very limited from what I remember.
Yeah.
But
I'm
even
looking
third
at it
party-
right now.
Like, I think Lost in Shadow was one of the games they put on there.
Yep. Yeah, Resident
yeah.
Evil 4 is on here.
Resident Evil 4, Zack and Wiki, Trauma Team, Sin and Punishment 2 is
Yeah,
also
Sin-
on the Wii U.
yeah,
Now
Sin and-
that's first
yeah.
party.
It is first party, but I think it's worth mentioning because that's another game that has kind of like gone up a bit. It was one of those weird ones that was like normal price, then it was like $2 for discount, and then like it shot back up again. And that game is one of the best rail shooters ever made.
Yeah, it's not Rhythm Heaven price levels, but it's definitely up there again.
Yeah.
God, I had something in my mind that I wanted to say too before we moved on, and now I'm starting to forget it.
Well, while you think of it.
Excitebots.
Oh yes.
Excitebots might be really cheap, but I'm going to mention it anyway because it's
Yeah.
cool that it's
Yeah.
on there. Pikmin
If you
1 and
want
2.
to overpay, if you want to overpay for Excitebots,
Yes, and
or if
Pikmin
you
1 and
What
2.
you do? Show them your
yeah,
support.
Pikmin 1 and 2, yeah. I mean, what Pikmin 2 in particular was such a limited release on Wii. If you want to use the pointer controls in it,
Which I
yeah,
feel like
I-
that's by far the best way to play in my opinion.
yeah, just don't spend your $20 on Metroid Other M. That's what
Yeah.
we're here to tell you.
That one never left bargain bin prices, I think. So
Yeah, and even if it did, don't.
I'm gonna talk about an older game, but I think it's one of the coolest Wii releases. Is Super Mario 3 on the Game Boy Advance,
Yes, yeah,
which has
Yeah.
all the frickin' e-reader levels.
It does.
Which is again like this isn't all of like the lists of like Wii U games to get, but it's fucking new levels of Mario 3, and that's amazing.
It. So I think it's worth mentioning, right as you say that too, is that this is the. We can talk about Virtual Console in general for a second here, in that this and 3DS are the last bastion of Virtual Console, and in particular, the Wii U Virtual Console is the only one that has Game Boy Advance and Nintendo DS games as of now. And there are a lot of really cool games on there, like Super Mario Advance 4, with all the e-reader levels, and it's not an insignificant amount of content either.
It's like 32 levels.
Yeah, and most of those, by the way, were not even available worldwide for the original release of the game because
Yeah.
you know.
yeah, that was a shocking release when that happened because like that felt like the kind of thing that like people on forums would be like, oh, that'd be so cool if they did that, but they never would.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
And
would
then-
never do it.
And then they did it, and I was like, what the hell? They actually
Yeah.
like remembered this stuff, and it's gonna be in the
like
game.
it's worth buying it just for the e-reader content alone,
Yeah.
in my personal opinion. And obviously you get the rest of Mario 3 as well.
Yeah, which is a great game.
I mean, yeah, I guess we can talk a little bit in general about Virtual Console stuff if you guys have anything. I know the one that I have is that I actually forgot about. Was that the NES Light Gun Trilogy, Duck Hunt, Hogan's Alley, and Wild Gunman. This is their only Virtual Console re-release, their only re-release ever, actually. And they do have built-in Wii Remote pointer support, and you can have a cursor, toggle it on and off. But those games, if you like light gun games, especially something like Duck Hunt, this is your only shot.
Yeah, it's so cool because as like CRTs are getting harder, or like they're still easy to find, but they're so heavy. Nobody wants a CRT in their house now.
Yeah,
like this is like the only way to play these on like a modern TV.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when Duck Hunt dropped too. I thought that was the coolest thing.
I think that was Christmas, wasn't it? Was it a Christmas that happened, or like right before Christmas?
I think. Well, I remember. I don't think it was Christmas because I remember like it was in a direct and like they showed the Duck Hunt and Smash Brothers trailer. Like this was months after the game had come out, but they were like, "Yeah,
Right.
here's the trailer we made for the character." But then after that, they were like, "Oh, by the way, Duck Hunt's coming to the Wii U eShop."
Yeah,
and I was like, "Oh
Yeah.
my god, that's surprising."
That's so cool.
Yeah, I grabbed that immediately.
It's not anything I expected.
Yeah, I think that's the only one of that trilogy that I've played.
Yeah.
I think Hogan's Alley and Wild Gunman were much more like quiet releases. Like they kind of just happened.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
I think it was like a couple of years after the fact I found out that they even got released at all. But they did get released. They're out there, and yeah, I mean, unless you want to fiddle with emulators like online and your own like custom setup, then that's definitely the easiest way to get up and get going with those games nowadays.
Yeah.
You do have to deal with that crummy Wii U NES emulator though.
It is.
But-
It does have the dark filter.
Yeah, dark and blurry, but I think in this case, I mean, it's worth it because you get to actually be able to play the games, which is pretty difficult to do on.
Like N64 games, I might not recommend you buy on there. 'Cause
No.
Yeah.
but like
there's
some good stuff.
To be honest, I think of all the platforms, I think Nintendo 64 is the safest bet that all of that stuff is going to appear again, especially because I think like there's like 38 something N64 games that are supposedly being worked on for the Nintendo Switch Online.
Oh, cool! I can't wait to play those by 2026.
Yeah. once every.
I can't wait to have like whatever comes after the Switch.
God,
and then just like be able to play them.
I can't wait for this one game a month streak to already end next month.
I think another notable NES game is recently we got Earthbound and Earthbound Beginnings on Nintendo Switch Online, but the only way to actually like purchase and own Earthbound Beginnings is on the Wii U eShop specifically. It's not even on the 3DS eShop.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I know we're not really going to talk about 3DS this episode, but there were a couple like interesting and exclusive Virtual Console releases that were like exclusive to one platform, never showed up on the other.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It doesn't matter at this point, but it's like
weird.
Yeah, it's like if you wanted to play like Morisame Castle, you got to have a 3DS. If you want to play Earthbound Beginnings, you got to have a Wii U. Okay, sure.
Versus Excitebike is another interesting one because it's not the arcade version. It's the Famicom disk system version of Versus Excitebike. So it's kind of its weird own thing too. And that's also another game that's only on the Wii U NES Virtual Console.
Were there any others besides those?
There are a few. I'm going through the actually going through the pages right now. I think it's worth mentioning that very quickly that if you were someone who transferred your Wii stuff over to Wii U, including Virtual Console stuff, as you might remember, there's an upgrade thing that you can do for the Wii U versions of these games that's like $1 or $2 depending on the system. That's going to be gone soon too if you are into that.
Yeah. Well, I think one thing we forgot to mention, and I guess I should bring it up, is I think the payment, like the shop closes in a year, but I think being able to add funds to your wallet goes away much sooner than that.
Yeah, I want to say it's May.
I hate when they do that.
Yeah.
That being said,
it's really weird.
That being said, if you have a Switch and your Nintendo Network ID is connected, whatever funds you add to your Switch wallet will be available.
Yeah,
that's nice.
That's
on
what I
3DS
thought.
and Wii U too.
That's what I thought.
It is worth mentioning, in case there's someone out there who just has a 3DS or just has a Wii U, that option will.
Much respect
will
to
be
that
going away.
person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Correct me
I
if
think
I'm wrong,
this
but like
this game
wouldn't
is
you be
on
able to
there
do that
for,
like from
oh,
like your browser too?
yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this game is on here for a different reason, but I just want to say it's really cool that you can play Wild World on a TV.
Yeah.
Like that's just such a weird thing.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
the Wii U really, I still think, I don't even know if it'll ever be topped as like the best way to play DS games that isn't a DS.
Yeah. I think it's
Oh yeah, I was gonna mention that.
Yeah, definitely.
It's the only other platform with a second screen. Like it's the only place DS games can work.
Yeah, I mean,
they have plenty of screen options too. You can have, the you can have the gamepad split both screens. You can have one screen on each. There's a lot of options in there.
Yeah.
I believe it's Nerd that handled this emulator. So,
yeah.
there's some people use the Wii U Virtual Console versions for speedrunning. Other people don't, but it is worth mentioning though that Game Boy Advance and DS games are all single player only, regardless of if they had multiplayer. So keep that in mind.
Drago, what were you saying about the DS stuff?
No, yeah, I was just kind of musing to myself. There might be some emulators out there that have like some crazy second screen options, like maybe you can stream it to a tablet. I was just thinking out loud. That's something I'll have to look at on my own time. But out of the box, even like some people like will say like you can do like a flip grip with the Switch and like kind of have it vertically. I'd be curious to try that, but I still don't think it would quite compare to what the Wii U can do.
Yeah.
I think it's worth mentioning, just while we're talking about DS, there's a couple of DS Virtual Console games that have gotten tweaks. The more significant one is Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon, which had an online store, an online item store, not like actual money. And when Nintendo Wi-Fi died, that was gone. But in the Wii U Virtual Console version of that game, you can access that store. They made it offline.
That's crazy. I had no idea that they did stuff like that.
They even did for Wild World. You don't need to have a friend come over to be able to build Nookingtons anymore, because you can't. So the Nookingtons requirement in Wild World has removed that, so you can still get to the best.
I did not know any of these.
Yeah, I was doing some research the other day to see like special versions of Virtual Console games, and yeah, that's one of those. It's one of those things.
Yeah.
And if you want to hack your Wii U, grab Brain Age. That's why it's the #1 game in the store for a while.
Well, it's funny. I actually looked this up like right before we started, and I could be wrong, but I'm looking at like the Wii U hacking guide, and it doesn't say that you need a copy of Brain Age. Like at the beginning, like it says this is what you need to hack your Wii U, and it doesn't list Brain Age. So, grain of salt. Yeah. I might be missing something, but
I think it's just any DS game.
It's
but
one.
Brain
of
Age
the
was like a cheap one. So
Brain Age was the cheapest. Yeah, that's why it became the.
Brain Age was. Brain Age was given away in Europe and Japan as well for free, so that makes it another reason why it was so commonly used. I know you can hack Wii U's using like the internet browser and stuff like that now. Like
I think
DS games aren't the only way to do it.
I will say I did mine like I preserved it for legal games I own only, of course. But I did that and I used Brain Age.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know now. Like, there's a bunch of different methods. Like, I know you can use DS games, and I used Brain Age because every DS game that I had didn't work because they all had like tweaks, except for like one of them. But I wanted to keep playing one of them, so I just got Brain Age. But I know you can use like the internet browser now.
Yeah.
And like even with like the 3DS, I don't think there's like a game requirement anymore. It's just like you need certain files off your SD card.
Yeah, I think it's
super simple on 3DS.
Yeah, and I think for Wii U it's like web browser, SD card, and then just follow the steps and make it happen.
Yeah, it's even like that on PS4, which I think is really funny.
That is actually kind of hilarious. I want to mention too in terms of Virtual Console before we kind of move off that subject. In Game Boy Advance, so Game Boy Advance Virtual Console is very good in general, handled by M2, has some screen filtering options and whatnot. There are a couple of special Game Boy Advance games on Virtual Console besides Mario Advance 4. One of those is just, I know Europe got Drill Dozer through there, we got Kururin through there, so those are kind of like some region exclusives. Yeah. But more importantly, if you are into the Mega Man Battle Network games, You'll have to look it up because it's different on each game, but some of the battle chips that you would usually need to get either through local wireless or like online, some of those games have them included just off the bat in the Virtual Console versions. It's kind of hit or miss, but definitely take a look at it if you're into those games.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like in general, like the Game Boy Advance was probably the most well-rounded platform on the entire Virtual Console on Wii U.
Yeah, I mean, if you
Like-
think about it, like, for in terms of Virtual Console, Wii U is a very good Metroid system, right? Because you have you have NES Metroid, you have Super Metroid, you have Fusion, you have Zero Mission, you even have Other M, and you even have Metroid
Prime.
Prime Trilogy. So, like, if you're looking to play, previously released
And-
Metroid
Most
games,
Metroids.
Metroid
And-
Prime Hunters,
Yeah, Prime Hunters, that's what I was going to say. No Prime
Yeah.
Pinball, though, I don't think.
no Prime
Oh, that's
Pinball.
tragic.
Well, yeah, that is tragic, but
It's so sad.
it is a very good platform to play Metroid games on
Yeah.
if you're into
And if you
that.
want to play Metroid 2, it's on the 3DS eShop.
Yeah, which we'll get to at another point, but yeah, there's plenty of stuff going away there too. Onimusha Tactics on the Game Boy Advance is on the Wii U Virtual Console.
I didn't know that was a game until like a month ago.
I forgot that was like Car Battler Joe as well from Natsume. Like, so
Yeah,
there's
like-
some random stuff on here.
Like, that's the thing, is
I
like, I
know-
feel like...
Guys, this is really important. I want to mention that Pocky and Rocky
Yes,
on the Game Boy Advance is on the Virtual Console, and you should get it.
Pocky and Rocky plus
Maybe
Becky.
it's up to your own volition, but I think you should get it. It'd be cool.
Yeah, there is a new Pocky and Rocky coming this year that I'm very excited for, and I would like to play some of the other ones. Even
Yeah.
the Klonoa Game Boy Advance games are on here too, at least the first two.
Yeah, like, I mean, when it comes to the Game Boy Advance, it's like, if you can think of, like, a Nintendo, a Namco, a Konami, or a Capcom game that was on the Game Boy Advance, it's probably on
Yeah.
the Wii U. So it's a
Yeah.
pretty thorough selection of a lot of its best games.
I didn't know
Special
it was that big.
special shout out to Kururin.
Absolutely.
This series has been kept from the United States for no good reason for years. If you remember the weird little egg helicopter thing in Smash Bros. Brawl, the assist trophy that kind of came out and rotated, it's like an irritating stick essentially. That's what this game is. You're kind of like a stick that's spinning around and you have to go through different maze areas. A lot more interesting than it sounds describing it. But this is the only way to get that in North America besides like importing a copy.
Yeah, fun game.
It's like what Monkey Ball on the GBA should have been. It's like
Yeah,
really
kind of.
fun.
Yeah, it's like if you took Monkey Ball and made it top down, but then also attached a giant stick to the ball to make it really annoying.
Yeah, and
Yeah, it's super fun.
yeah, I think besides that, though, like, the Super Nintendo, there are like 50 games. NES was,
Yeah.
what, like almost 100?
Yeah.
You've got a lot of the heavy hitters, but I feel like those platforms in particular were kind of downgrades from the Wii lineup. Outside of like
Yeah.
a couple like brand new games that finally, that like your Earthbound,
Right.
and stuff like Duck Hunt.
I think Donkey Kong Country was on Wii. Never mind.
It was.
Yeah. Demon's Crest as well. I don't remember if Demon's Crest was on Wii, but that's an expensive Super Nintendo game.
I think that one is on NSO.
Is
So
it? Okay.
yeah, so that one is
Yeah.
one of the few that is still around.
Still around, but if you do want to own it, then you don't have many options.
Yeah, I mean N64, you had your usual 20-something games.
They even for a couple of the NES games that have like the custom stage stuff, like Mach Rider or Excite Bike, they made it so that you can save those stages. Because on actual hardware, when you reset those stages, or your custom stages and tracks are gone. So if you like Wrecking Crew and like making custom stages, you might want to take a look at the Virtual Console versions of these so that you can actually like keep your work.
Wrecking Crew's not terrible.
Wrecking Crew is
It's
cool.
not- yeah, I like that game.
And Excite Bike is one of those games that it's like really easy to make a custom track. It's not even like a Mario Maker level of complex to do something in. But
Is it time to talk about Pushmo World?
I think
think
it's
so.
time to talk
Yeah, I
about
mean-
Pushmo
Okay.
World.
I actually
Absolutely
didn't
fine.
play Pushmo World. I did play. We'll talk about the 3DS ones later, but I just like Pushmo in general. So if you want more Pushmo, fucking get some Pushmo in your life.
Yeah, Pushmo World is a very cool game, very pretty. Has a great level editor. And as far as I know, you can still download levels on there. I believe you can share them with QR codes even.
Yeah, so it's the mechanics from the first push mode. There's no like crash mode stuff in it, to my knowledge, but it's a lot of push mode.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's very good. $10, I
Push
think.
mode's so cool.
Sure, 3D puzzle games. You can look them up. They're cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool. I guess we can talk about some Wii U digital exclusives. I think Pushmo World is probably one of the most important ones.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of this talk was like Virtual Console, because I think once you get to like the Wii U originals, I could be doing it a disservice, but I feel like there wasn't really that much.
There's not many.
At least stuff that was exclusive.
Yeah. I think one that is often forgotten about, I forgot about it until looking it up for yesterday, was the Wii U version of Art Academy Home Studio is only digital in the US. And if you like Art Academy and you like drawing, that version of that game is very good with the screen real estate on the Wii U.
Yeah, I think the Wii U version, doesn't it have like no tutorials, or is it just the drawing?
I think it was called Sketchpad, right?
So Sketchpad came out years before Home Studio did, and it was just for drawing, and you could post stuff on Miiverse.
And then they shut down Sketchpad and
and
made Home Studio.
When Home Studio came out, Sketchpad got delisted, and because it's essentially part of Home Studio, which was silly that it was delisted. I think Sketchpad was like $4. Home Studio is like 20 or 30, and that game Home Studio has like all the like built-in tutorials and stuff.
I had no idea that this even happened. That's another surprise.
Yeah, they that's what they took from us.
Jesus.
There are a couple other ones here. I don't think most people care that much about Dr. Luigi.
Nope.
I care about Dr. Luigi.
But
I hate Dr. Mario.
if you like Dr. Mario, even if you like Dr. Mario, I would say skip Dr. Luigi and get the 3DS one instead. Miracle Cure has all the content of Dr. Luigi and every other Dr. Mario game, and then some.
Yeah, I think Dr. Luigi was just kind of like a Year of Luigi gimmick game. It's like, we need Dr. Mario on the Wii U. We'll make it Luigi.
If you're not familiar with it, the pills are like arranged in the L shapes instead of it's like two pills combined essentially, and it's annoying. That's pretty
ratio shape, you mean?
Yeah, the L plus ratio shape. Yeah. Something that isn't annoying is I know Drago, you wanted to talk about this one. Affordable Space Adventures.
Yeah, well, I wanted to talk about it because it's the only like Wii U eShop exclusive game I can remember. Like, and to be honest, it's like enough time has passed. I don't even remember what this game was about. I just never forgot about it because of its like unique situation of like this was like an independent game. I forget. Let me look up who developed it real quick. But it was one of the few Wii U games that was really built around the gamepad.
Yeah, it's very much an asymmetric co-op game where each person is kind of controlling like different aspects of the ship that you're flying, and it's just chaos essentially.
But yeah, I remember
Overcooked, but for spaceships.
Yeah, it was one of the few, especially because like I think this was like 2015, so it's like the Wii U was kind of like already not necessarily sunset, but kind of sunset.
Kind of, yeah.
And it was just like this interesting like third party, exclusive release that actually used the gamepad in a significant way. And I thought, that's really cool. And then I never got around to playing it, and I still have it.
It's by Napnock Games.
Yeah. But I remember it, and it reminds me too that there was like a Humble Bundle for the Wii U.
There was.
Yeah.
And that was
I got that.
That was a part of it.
I probably have that game.
If you have unused Humble codes for Wii U and 3DS stuff, then your time is running out to redeem those.
Yeah, really any shop online that's still selling that stuff. If I don't know, maybe they like just shut that down immediately and just stopped selling those on any shopping website. But
yeah, I know I had some, like I had like an extra Shantae one because that was part of that Humble Bundle too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there were a couple Wii U and 3DS ones. I don't know if there were ever any Switch
I wonder if I just bought the
ones.
3DS one. Well, I don't know if I bought the 3DS or the Wii U one.
Well, I know for like some of them, right? If you bought, like there was a couple on there the reason that some people had extras is because some of the ones on there were cross-buy. So if you redeemed one of the codes for, like, say, 3DS, you would get the Wii U version anyway. But it would still give you a separate redeemable code for Wii U. And if you give that to someone else, they would also have access to the 3DS one. So, you know.
Yeah, there was some, like... I mean, it was very rare, but I do actually remember now that there was, like, some form of cross-buy on Wii U and 3DS. Not for Virtual Console stuff.
No.
Yeah.
Not for the one that mattered.
Yeah. God, I remember this is another 3DS thing, but it's like when they announced Super Nintendo for the 3DS, like the new 3DS, I was like, oh, that's cool. And then it's like, oh, but you have to rebuy every single game again. It's like,
that sucked. That
thanks,
sucks a lot.
I guess.
I think I bought literally one game on that. I bought Super Metroid, and then I ended up playing it somewhere else.
Yeah,
That's really funny.
I kind of wanted, like, one of each Virtual Console platform at least, like, on each system. So, like, Game Boy Advance, it's going to be Mario Advance 4 for me, like, easily. Like, that's going to solve that. It was always so weird that they didn't go all the way with that.
I mean, it makes sense. Nintendo's stingy. So
it's unfortunate.
It still sucks that Virtual Console isn't just this
unified,
like, ongoing this ongoing thing. It's just like
it's
like a Steam or something that's like always going to be there.
Right. It's like
I would buy these games.
It's this weird mix for me because it's like a Nintendo Switch Online, like, in theory, is it's great. You pay one thing, like, you subscribe to a service and you've got all these games instantly, and they don't really go... I don't think any of the games have gone away yet, so they, like, stay there.
No.
It does keep building. The problem is just, like I don't know, it's just you can tell with, like, the game selection that it's, like, the Virtual Console method, it's not perfect, especially the way that it's been handled over the years with how it resets every single time. But it does allow, like, bigger third-party games to kind of be on that platform. But now it's, like... third parties are kind of just left to their own devices. It's like, if they want those games, they just got to do it themselves.
Yeah. And you also have a thing of, like, Nintendo, like, is known to shut things down. The Switch will get shut down at some point. These NSO games will not be playable forever.
Yeah, I mean, that I think that's the craziest thing. Like if you, like, thinking about the shop closure again, it's like, imagine if, like, the Switch eShop closed 3 years after its, like, final retail game. It'd be insane. Yeah. It's ridiculous.
It's it's one of those things too, that what also makes it difficult is, any game on Wii U as well that has the DLC. For example, if you own Hyrule Warriors on Wii U and say you want the DLC and you don't want to buy the game again, or, you want to get the Mario Kart tracks on Wii U for some reason, or more importantly, something like Wii Sports Club, which is very modular, and you can get each of the, different sports separately, and all that stuff.
That one digitally is a real weird one too, right? Because it is piecemeal. It's not like you can get, like, all in one.
The thing with Wii Sports Club, is that game is also...
It's $50.
It's normally $50, but at retail, not retail, getting it physical now is more expensive than getting it
more
digitally.
than, like... I will say that game is not worth $50 either.
I think it's a very...
Doesn't look like it, honestly.
It's a very interesting game. I think some stuff in there is worth it.
Like, if you just want to buy the games you like, I just don't recommend buying all of them.
This is checking the prices too. It's like this one kind of went back down to, like, the 40, 50 level.
That's good. Yeah.
Well, no, it's back. It's up to, like, 80 now.
Oh, okay.
Oh no.
So I mean, so Wii Sports Club had this thing where you could either buy the games outright, or you can buy, like, a pass that was like a 24-hour pass or like a week pass or whatever.
Yeah, it was so bizarre. I don't think I've ever tried anything like that since, or like before.
But I do think that, in particular, Wii Sports Club baseball had a really cool use of the gamepad, using it as a mitt to catch for the fielding.
That is cool.
Mm-hmm.
And boxing, you did dual Wii Remote, like Wii Remote Pluses, Wii Motion Plus controllers.
So it must have felt a lot better than
yeah, they had
POG.
They added like new training games for each of the sports as well, so it's not like you're just getting the regular sport. I know golf, you had to, like, put the gamepad on the floor and, like, swing over.
Yeah, golf was
the
weird.
Golf ball. It was neat.
That was the thing from the initial Wii U reveal video.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so,
I don't know if it was just me or the game, but I played the golf in club and it felt off compared to Resort in the original.
Yeah,
tennis feels really off. I think it felt so weird,
I think
like floaty.
bowling is still solid.
Yeah,
I
you can't mess with
honestly,
bowling.
it's to me, it's really the boxing and baseball that are the ones to note here. If you're
Yeah.
into Wii Sports stuff,
I'm interested. I might get those because those aren't in Resort.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, golf has like I think I don't know how many like original courses, but it definitely has new content compared to the previous games. So if you
Yeah.
love golf, it's still worth it for that.
yeah, and that goes. I mean, this isn't a game that's split up weird, but like there's other Wii series games on Wii U, like Wii Party U. That's like, if I remember correctly, is expensive now physically.
Oh
Um,
gosh.
Which
We-
you'll probably be okay if you don't have Wii Party U.
Wii Party U
your
is
life.
actually pretty cool. I would.
Oh,
would
is it?
say.
Okay.
It has some really neat physical experience stuff. Like there's this one game basically where like you're at the TV, and the TV is a river, and you use the Wii remote to scoop water out, and then you put the gamepad across the room and walk up to it, and then dump the water into like this basin. And the idea is that you have to do it cooperatively with people to fill it up as fast as possible.
That does sound
And
fun.
it's kind of silly sounding, but like it works actually very well.
That's so zany.
It's very zany. It's kind of a unique game that I think people kind of forget about, but it might be worth looking at.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is, why isn't there Wii Chess on the Wii U?
Europe got
only.
Wii Chess, not on Wii U, but
Yeah,
on,
I don't-
on
I don't-
Wii.
Yeah,
America never.
I want it
got,
on the Wii U.
America never got Wii Party
Did
or Wii Chess.
Yeah, we never
Okay.
got Wii Chess. Nes, you had a game on Wii U that you wanted to talk about that wasn't Sonic Boom.
Did I?
Yeah, it's called Ironfall.
No, that's on 3DS.
That's 3DS.
Oh,
game,
it's
that's
3DS?
episode. It just got put in the wrong section.
Oh,
I think the sections got messed up a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, the sections got messed up a bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we're kind of at a point where it's kind of just other odds and ends. Does anyone have anything?
I think
I
I
was
hit
gonna-
I hit all the stuff that I really like.
Yeah.
My favorite piece of Wii U software. I'm gonna say this till the day I die. First one, right? It is the Animal Crossing
Plaza?
Plaza.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah,
God.
that was so fun
That was-
back in the day.
that-
I didn't even do anything. I just sat there.
Yeah.
It was
like,
so
with my Wii
it was
U, and I
so
like,
pretty.
yeah.
It made you were like, oh my god, I need an Animal Crossing for the Wii U, and then it never happened.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's like such like a great like live background. I wish I had that like for my PC.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
wallpaper engine.
And what's sad
Um,
is that was delisted. You cannot download that again if you haven't already bought it in the past.
It's so sad.
So sad.
Another thing.
And my second favorite
Go ahead.
thing though, Wii U chat.
Yeah, that's also dead.
Yeah,
It's very sad.
Wii U chat was really funny.
I mean,
I never used
Um,
Wii U chat.
after the
I
shock-
never used Wii U chat, but like
I did.
way back in the day, like when I was first getting into speedrunning, I remember being in like a Skype call before like Discord existed. I remember being in a Skype call with, I don't remember who it was, but they were in a Wii U chat with Valu, like the person, like the Mario speedrunner, and they were just on Wii U chat while we were in Skype call.
I mean,
And that
it's,
is like a core memory for me.
it's funny because it's silly and one of those like completely extraneous things, but that was actually a very reliable way to do video calls. Like, it worked very well, especially in the time where like Discord wasn't around and Skype was like, in a state of like constantly crashing for people.
Yeah.
And it's always sad to see stuff like that go. I think the cutest thing was when you hung up, you waved goodbye to each other. That's what
Oh,
I
that's
liked.
cute.
That's what I liked. That was my
I also
favorite.
remember this big thing from like Miiverse and Wii U chat where people would like e-date like on Miiverse using like Wii U chat.
That's very unfortunate.
There was two last things I wanted to hit really quick. One is just like the Xenoblade Chronicles X faster load packs. Just
Yeah.
Download those if you want to play that game. I don't think you need to own the game to download.
No,
them.
You don't need to own the game. They are free. This is specifically for
They're big though.
This is specifically if you own the disc version of Xenoblade Chronicles X to help stuff load faster. There are 4 of them, and they are free. You will not be able to get them after they stop allowing new downloads.
Yes, that's cool. And the last thing was that I had was someone else wrote at the top was the Wii U shop music, which will be missed forever. Luckily, it's all online.
It is all backed up. It was nice.
You know what?
But it was so charming.
It was. I don't. I'm sorry. I keep interrupting you.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
No, yeah.
I was just gonna say the thing I forgot about until I just opened up the Wii U eShop a little while ago for this episode was there's that little slot machine loading game. You have to line up the chunks of the icons.
Yeah. Oh my god, I forgot about that.
Yeah,
those little
it
things.
was fun. Yeah. What did you have, Drago?
No, yeah, it's like the music in particular. Like my favorite thing about it too was that it would constantly like cycle out. So it's like I think every month or every couple months they would change up the music to something new. I don't know if any of them ever like topped the Wii or the DSi shop musics.
Yeah,
but they were
good.
They're still good, and there's a lot of songs like I still go back to a lot of those. I think January 2014. I actually have it open in a tab. It's probably my favorite one. But yeah, it's
be like, yes, this specific month.
Yeah, January 2014.
And we need monthly Switch eShop songs. Like they can afford that.
Yeah, I mean this is the official death of shop music for Nintendo.
Soul versus no soul.
God,
yeah, it's gone.
I know I have a couple. If you are into the weird sorts of things that they put on towards the beginning of the life, for example, the panorama view. I don't know if anyone remembers that.
I do.
It is.
I took a selfie with that one time. It was so funny.
It's basically like 3D videos, and you can move around them freely with using the gamepad as a window. They're $2 each. Yeah, if you for some reason want those will be gone forever. Does anyone remember Wii Street U?
I do.
No.
Yeah,
It was like
Streets thing.
Google
So
Maps,
vaguely.
Google Maps
Yeah,
on the Wii U.
that's been delisted for a while, but it's kind of funny. More importantly, we didn't talk about NES Remix 1 and 2. Those games have not been moved to Switch yet, but it's worth mentioning that those games separately and in the physical package for Wii U are different content-wise than the 3DS version, which is Ultimate.
Some different NES games.
Yeah, there are some different games that are excluded and just like kind of features that are excluded in general. I don't remember if the Nintendo World Championship thing is included in the 3DS version or not. But Super Luigi Bros is included in the Wii U version, which is basically reverse Super Mario Bros, and it's kind of neat. So there's that.
NES Remix is probably like I don't know. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say it's one of the best Wii U games. Kind of just that's a gut thing. I don't think I've ever thought about it before, but screw it. I'm gonna say it is because it's really really
try
good.
Those. I've never played NES Remix.
They're
essentially like NES WarioWare, but not like how WarioWare does it. It's like a bunch of challenges related to NES games, and sometimes you'll be going through a level of Super Mario Bros. And it's completely iced over, or like you're playing Donkey Kong but as Link, so you can't jump. So there's like some weird ones, and then there's ones that kind of actually like sort of teach you how to play the games a bit better. They're neat games. The second one has, I think, the more interesting lineup of NES games, but I feel the first one has the better challenges. So there's that. I know
those are cool.
For me, this is always going to be something I have to mention because it's obligatory. There is a special demo for Star Fox Zero, and I know already people are like, oh boy, here we go. The reason that I say to take a look at this is not because of the demo. It's actually Star Fox Zero, The Battle Begins, plus training. And Battle Begins is that anime short that they did for Star Fox Zero, kind of like the Pikmin HD movies. Now you can't buy the HD movies anymore.
That's the alarm that I set as the bit.
You can't buy it.
It's time for Jared to die.
You can watch it on YouTube, but there is something special about having the special software, on your system. Same thing with, demos or, DLC or even like Monster Hunter tools, Amiibo Tap, all that fun stuff.
Yeah,
get the free stuff.
Lots of oddities. A lot of stuff you don't really remember until you're out of the way looking for it.
A lot of other great stuff, but for now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's worth mentioning that, like, we say it's like gone forever, but it's not really.
Yeah,
on the down low.
yeah, on the down low, like, this stuff
Gone
is
for
all
for a little bit until
Gone.
But you should
Gone.
buy what you can.
Yeah.
gone legally is, I think, the answer here.
Yeah.
Anything that really strikes your fancy. I mean, now's the time.
I think you should do it.
Yeah.
So, I guess right before we wrap up, does anybody have any last thoughts?
I think people should play Sonic Boom.
I think people should play Rhythm Heaven.
Yeah.
Oh, that too. That's a good one.
What about you, Jared?
Play some Pushmo. Get yourself some puzzle in action.
I guess my final thing is one last shout out. There's a game called X-Type Plus on the Wii U eShop. I don't remember if anyone knows that little thing called Nintendo Web Framework. It was basically like a way to use HTML5 to make your own games for Wii U. You could actually like sign up specifically for that.
I think I remember that. There was like some Japanese. There was like a contest, right? Where like there were these like kind of garage games, right?
Yeah, I know they had some of that. Some of that was like Japan only for download, which sucks.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the ones that came out in the US, I think it's $3. It's called X-Type Plus, and it's pretty much an endless shooter. It's very simple, but it's actually really damn good. And I would love if you took a look at that before it's gone forever.
Also, grab the browser so you can hide your dirty pictures. When people walk in the room, you can pull the curtain down.
Yeah, but the browser's just built in. You don't need to grab the
Oh,
browser.
you don't have to download that? Okay.
I think
thank God.
even the Wii
I forgot
internet
about the curtain.
the Wii internet channel still works to this day.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, it
Fantastic.
Not much works with it, but it
Yeah, it's
to
not
the internet.
not a lot.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
It has Flash support.
Yeah,
It
it still
does.
does.
Unfortunately, you cannot play Lost Reavers online. On
Oh
Wii
no,
U.
that horrible game that nobody liked.
And if you have
Oh no, the best game of all time.
and if you have the digital code for the Hyrule Historia on Wii U, you better use that fast because that's a thing, and soon that will be gone. So yeah. So yeah, that was a look at some of the shop closures and specifically the Wii U stuff. There's so much more that we can't.
We'll do 3DS in another episode in like 2 weeks. Next week is Pokemon, then 3DS.
So before we go, you can find us on nintendopipeline.wordpress.com for some articles that show up once in a blue moon. You can also find our Discord link there, or you can go to discord.gg/nintendopipeline. Additionally, wherever you're listening to us, if you're listening to us, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, we're on pretty much anything that you would prefer. So if you dig what you hear, we definitely appreciate any sort of listens and follows. If you have any suggestions or ideas or thoughts, please share them with us on the Discord or any other method. YouTube comments.
I have a thought. Should we have a Twitter?
I was thinking about that too. Probably we'll handle
talk
that
about it later.
soon. Yeah, we can figure that out later.
That was a suggestion from a fan.
Yeah.
I was reading some fan comments.
Yeah, all those.
I have a
comments.
suggestion.
Yeah, what's your suggestion?
I don't know if this is gonna get meta, but I suggest that we end the episode.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, in that case, there was one more thing that I had.
You had to thank Drago.
Yeah, that's right. I wanted to thank Drago for being here, and I wanted to thank Nes for
very
being
welcome.
here. And I wanted to thank Nes for
baby.
being here.
Oh baby.
Oh, baby. All right.
Oh baby. I forgot I was here.
Yeah.
Thank you everyone so
Yeah,
much.
thanks, everybody. We will see you next
Have
time.
a good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Good night, everybody.